Now, last year, Professor Paul Kohler was attacked by 4 burglars who entered his home in South London and beat him within an inch of his life.
Well, he suffered fractures to his eye socket and his jawbone, broken nose, severely bruised, which left him utterly unrecognisable. This is what he had to say at the time.
You're totally bewildered, of course, and you feel very stupid because, you know, your home is where you feel most secure, and suddenly you've let this hostile force into your home. So you feel utterly stupid and the desire to defend your territory.
Well, since then, 4 men have been jailed for the attack, and Professor Kohler now says that he is ready to visit his attackers in jail. And we'll come on to that in a moment. I mean, you are unrecognisable even from that clip there when you saw Eamonn and Ruth here. An incredibly frightening experience for you and your entire family, because this happened in your home, a place where you were meant to feel your absolute safest.
Well, you said it, exactly that, yes. It was very frightening at the time.
What do you remember of that night?
I remember it in great detail still, so all of it is still there in my mind. I suspect it always will be as well.
And so you were there with your wife and your daughter, you think was your daughter upstairs?
My daughter was upstairs on the top floor, yes.
Yeah, and her boyfriend was over as well.
Yeah, that's right.
And so there were silhouettes at the door, and because, you know, you've got, I think, 3 daughters, haven't you? So
4
daughters. So you're used to, you know, sort of friends coming round.
Exactly.
And a busy front door. So you didn't think twice about opening it?
No, I opened the door assuming it was friends, and as they bundled through the door, even then thought, oh my God, they're drunk. It was only when they started hitting me that I realised, obviously, it was someone else.
And in a way, the thing that got you through it was thinking of your family and protecting them.
Yes, that desire to protect the family is incredibly strong, of course, so that's immediately what drives into you.
Well, you shouted to your wife to call the police, but they got to her, didn't they?
Yes, it was stupid, of course, in retrospect, to shout that, because that told them she was upstairs, so 2 of them went upstairs and confronted her and made her lie down and put a hood over her head.
And it was your daughter, who they didn't know was in the house, who called the police?
Yes, she was at the top floor. She barricaded herself in very quietly and rang the police.
And they arrived very quickly?
Incredibly quickly, within 8 minutes.
And what was that moment like when they suddenly burst through the door?
Absolutely fantastic,
yeah.
Of course.
Like
and
the
very
cavalry.
brave of... Yes, it was like the cavalry. Incredibly brave of them. They rushed in straight away.
And they stopped that attack just before you were about to be hit over the head with a cabinet door? That's
right, yes. It was very within seconds that was about to happen.
So those dreadful pictures that we're looking at right now, could have been considerably worse had they not arrived on time, or the circumstances had been different, you hadn't been able to call the police so quickly?
Yes, I don't really want to think about that, but yes, exactly.
So when you look at those pictures, you came here and you spoke to Eamonn and Ruth. How can you begin to forgive, or is that your motive for going to meet these guys?
I don't think to forgive is the motive. We're going there most basically to demythologise them. At the moment, they're monsters in our heads that try to destroy our family. We want to get beyond that, and the first stage is meeting them. Beyond that, we each have separate reasons for going.
So have you spoken as a family then? Do you sort of go in with pre-arranged questions, the things that you really want to ask?
Not as much pre-arranged questions, but we know the motives are different. I really want to find out why they did it. My wife, on the other hand, wants to tell them what it did to the family. Whilst my daughter, to a great credit, her motivating factor is she wants them to rehabilitate themselves. She wants to start that process, so she wants to help them.
How did you begin to set this meeting up?
We were contacted by a charity, Why Me, the charity, and they were set up to do exactly this. And they contacted me and said, would they like their help? And of course I said yes.
But there's always that risk, isn't there, that you go in and you see them and they are exactly the monsters that you had in your head, that they don't feel any remorse. Do you worry that by going there you could make it worse?
Well, the fact that they have to agree to see us, the fact that they've agreed to see us is hugely important. I think that shows there's something there at least.
And are you hoping that you'll get some sort of reason for the attack when you go there?
I am. That might be naive, because there might be reasons they don't want to reveal that. So I'm not going in there with any particular thing that must happen. I just want to see what progresses from the meeting.
How will you feel when you walk in?
I'll be scared. It was interesting seeing them in court, behind a glass screen,
Yeah.
actually seeing their faces was definitely, I began to shake. My daughter burst into tears. It's amazing how scary that moment is.
And do you hope, because I mean, you're still in the same home, so how is it for you and your family still living in that place where this horrific attack happened?
Well, it's a wonderful home and we love it, and we weren't going to be sort of frightened out of our own home. My wife makes the point, we are different now. You know, we don't like any of our daughters being alone in the house at night. Eloise, in fact, moved out a few months ago, and I think that was bound to happen, but I think it happened a little quicker than it would have done.
Yeah.
And what about you, physically and emotionally?
Physically, I was perfect as I was, which wasn't exactly perfect, of course. I have double vision on the very left, which makes my parallel parking even more precarious. But apart from that, physically, I'm fine. Emotionally, I think I'm over it.